Let's now fix all mistakes in this code together. But we will not just fix mistakes. We will also build correct prototype chain. What I mean? I mean that methods should reside in corresponding prototypes. They shouldn't be in each instance of the prototypes. For example, here in the product function, you see that price info method will be added to each instance, but it should be property of the product.prototype. That's why we need to move it there. Okay, but let's move from bottom to up and let's start from the lowest level prototype in this chain. And let's first examine this chain. Let me scroll down, and here you see that my TV should be instance of the TV. It should be also instance of the electric device, product and object. If I scroll up and look at this line, I will see that here is an attempt to create instance of the TV. But here I see first mistake. New keyword is missing. Because without new keyword, you will simply call function, not a constructor function. And if you want to call constructor function, you need to add new keyword. Okay, first mistake fixed. What's next? It seems that prototype of the TV should be electric device. Let's look at those lines. So here is an attempt to assign prototype property of TV and make it equal to electric device.prototype. But here is second mistake. Instead of electric device here, that is simply a function, should be its prototype. So let's add here dot prototype. Notice that I have disabled browser's console in order to make this job more difficult for me. So I don't see any mistakes, I just look at the code and I want to fix all errors and only then launch it in the browser. Okay, so what's next? Next, let me scroll down and look at this part. So here we create new instance of the TV and pass here this object as an argument. And this object contains following name value pairs: model, price, energy efficiency class, and diagonal. And on this line, we should see object with 4 properties, actually 5 properties, if we will count proto property. And those properties should be own properties of this object. Notice that this object doesn't have any methods. Remember that method is simply name value pair where value is a function. If you want to build correct prototype chain, you should add methods to the prototypes. And each instance should have only name value pairs without any methods. So here below we call 2 of those methods, energy info and price info, and we get those lines as a result. Okay, so let's take a look at the TV constructor function. Let me scroll up, and here is this function. And in this function we assign 2 own properties to each instance of this prototype: this.model and this.diagonal. So those 2 values are used. But here I see another error, and instead of model here should be props.model, like this. And here we call parent function, and parent function for TV is electric device. But let's look at this call and decide whether or not it is correct. So this function must be called with 2 arguments, this and props. But here order is reversed. That's why I will change order here. First argument is this and second one is props. So same props as here. We pass same object to electric device function. Okay, so this function is fixed. This part was also fixed, and here we correctly assign value to the constructor property of the prototype, and it should be equal to function itself. So this part is correct now. Let's move on to next function in the prototype chain, and it is electric device. Let me scroll up, and here is this function. Inside of this function I set another property, and it is property energy efficiency class, and it is equal to props.energy efficiency class. But here in this function I don't see any parameters. That's why I need to add this props parameter here to this function. Because let me scroll down, and here we call this function with an argument props. That's why it must have one parameter. Of course, name of this parameter can be something different from props, but usually it is props for consistency. Okay, what's next? Next, we see here strange assignment. Here it is. Energy info is a function. And what happens here? If we call electric device function, for example here, this assignment will be performed inside of this function, and that's it. So nothing will happen with each instance of the TV. But this function must be a method that will be available for any instance down the prototype chain. And in this case, we need to assign this function to prototype of this electric device. Let me cut it here. I'll select it, Command X or Control X, and here below this function, actually after this line, I will add method. So electric device dot prototype dot, and here I will paste cutted part. So energy info is now method of the prototype. And let's look at this function and decide whether or not it is correct. Here I see anonymous function expression, not arrow function, so it is correct. And inside of this function, following line is logged to the console. Energy efficiency class is this dot energy efficiency class. And here we will refer to this property of specific instance on which this energy info function will be called. So here I don't see any errors. Okay, so this part is correct now, and this part is correct too. Next, prototype of electric device.prototype should be product.prototype. So on this line, we try to assign prototype of this prototype equal to product. That is incorrect. Here must be product.prototype. And one line is missing after this line, and here we need to assign value to the constructor property of this prototype. And it should be equal to function itself, equal to electric device. Okay, so now product.prototype is prototype of electric device.prototype. But let's now look again at this function, and here I don't see any call to product function. And remember that we should call parent function only if it sets additional own properties of each instance. So let's scroll up to this product function and check whether or not it sets some own properties of each instance. So here is this product function, and yes, it sets price property. Actually, it sets two properties, but here is a method and it should be moved to prototype of product. But this assignment of the price property is correct. That's why here in electric device function we should call product function. So let's do that here. Product.call, and here will be two arguments, this and props. Okay, now it seems that this part dedicated to electric device function is correct. Let's now adjust this product function, that is a prototype of this function. So we need to take this method and assign it to the prototype of the product. Let me cut it here and delete this. And below this function, I will assign this method to its prototype, product.prototype. And here I'll paste cutted code. And let's look at this part. Here I see arrow function, and I don't see any references to this inside of this function. So it seems that this function is correct. But let me scroll down. Here on this verification step, I need to log to the console price of my TV. And my TV is instance of the TV. So it means that here I should refer to the price of this where this is my TV. That's why I need to adjust this function, and instead of arrow function, here should be regular anonymous function expression. So function, it will not have any parameters, and here I should correct price to this dot price. Okay, and prototype of the product.prototype is object.prototype. It means that I don't need to add any explicit commands for that, because object.prototype is prototype of product.prototype by default. Okay, let me verify whether or not I have not missed something. Let me scroll down. So, let me look at those lines. Here I should get energy efficiency class is A+. Let's look at this method energy info. This method is defined here. On this line, we refer to energy efficiency class of specific instance. Here is function expression, it is correct. Let me look at this object. So in this object, I need to set 4 own properties: model price, energy efficiency class, and diagonal. 2 properties are set here, and they are model and diagonal, and they are set correctly. Next, we call parent function, electric device, and this function sets 1 more property, energy efficiency class, and it is set correctly. Inside of this function, we call parent function product, and this function sets 1 more property, and it is price. And it seems that it is also set correctly. And this product prototype has 1 more method, price info, and it is also anonymous function expression. And inside of this function, we log to the console this line, where we refer to the price of the object where this function is called. Okay, let's look again at those parts. Here, product.prototype becomes prototype for electric device.prototype. And here below, same happens with electric device.prototype, and it becomes prototype for TV.prototype. It seems that all mistakes are fixed, so fingers crossed. Let's save and look at the result in the console. And here it is. Let me expand this object, and you see that it has 5 properties: 4 own properties and 1 proto property. And it means that all those properties were correctly set by different functions in the prototype chain. Let me expand its prototype, and it is TV.prototype, and prototype of this prototype is electric device.prototype. And here you see energy info function, that is method of this prototype. Let me expand this proto property, and here you see product.prototype, and it has price info method. And its prototype is default prototype for all prototypes, and it is object.prototype. Let me make it smaller, and here you see entire prototype chain. Let me look again at the verification part here in this challenge. So here we should get object with 5 properties, and we got exactly same object here. And here we get energy efficiency class is A+. Here it is. And here we get price of the product is 1200, and it is correct. Let's perform also those verifications. So my TV instance of TV. Let me clear console here. Paste command here, it is true. Next verification, my TV instance of electric device. It is also true. My TV instance of product. And of course, my TV is instance of object. Okay, if you have achieved same result and fixed all mistakes yourself, I can congratulate you. So you are really master of prototype chains in JavaScript, and you are master of function constructors. Let's move on, and next let's finally start with ES6 classes. And you will see how this feature simplifies life of developers who are building prototype chains. Because as you see here, with function constructors, it is, I can say, nightmare. Okay, see you after the pause. Bye-bye.